Hey everybody, it's your old pal Maddog. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to make a video. Things have been really busy here in the old life lately. This last week I had to fly out to Charleston, South Carolina with a couple of my work colleagues to go get schooled up on some things that we use at work that are kind of one of our main tools around the office, and we had to go get schooled up on new things going on with that. Some exciting stuff out there, but meanwhile back here, not a lot going on. It's Saturday morning, and normally this is the time that I really like to dig in and get a lot of my cooking and stuff going. But I ironically don't really have a project today, and that's okay, because there's nothing like following up a week of travel and having to fly through O'Hare, which I swear to God, they power the lights on the ceiling with some kind of thing in the floor that drains your life out of you while you change gates, or more likely get stuck between them. Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm going to follow that up by going back to Chicago. So I get to go to O'Hare twice next week. Woohoo! And won't that be a good time? Being in Chicago will be good. Ironically, it's a well-timed meeting, so it's going to follow up on some of the stuff I learned last week, and I'll try and answer some of the questions it generated. So, okay, I kind of lied. I am doing a project today, but it's an easy project. I actually started it yesterday. Next weekend is, as my buddy Joe Dilla used to say, constructive St. Patrick's Day. I can't remember where it's the 4th to 17th, but here in Sioux Falls, where we get serious about this, or we used to be more serious and always celebrate St. Patrick's Day on St. Patrick's Day, which basically meant go ahead and leave the office at about 1 o'clock and start drinking beer, even if it is a Tuesday. That's a good program, really. But I'm going to make some corned beef and cabbage. I don't know what's particularly Irish about that. I don't think it's Irish at all, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of poor people food. I actually think it's more Jewish than anything else. I mean, it uses brisket, which everybody buys up to put on your Traeger grills and stuff. But this one, we're gonna cure it. I mean, that's what corned beef is. It doesn't really have anything to do with corn. The corn refers to pebbles of salt. And when you think about this, that's how people used to preserve their foods, smoking and preserving and canning, because you had to make it while you had it. You had, animals needed to be slaughtered, fields needed to be harvested, and you need to do something with that, because that moment was gonna sustain you going into the future. And one of the things that you would have to do then is figure out a way to preserve it. And corning beef, or salting it, causes some chemical reactions in it. It fights off some bad bacteria and lets the good stuff go, and you have a whole different product when you're done. I don't know when it was, maybe 10 or 12 years ago or so, I decided, who knows, decided that I could start making my own corned beef. I would always buy those ones at the store that are all pink and in the little bags, and you try and get a flat or a point, and it's expensive as shit, and it's really not that good. Some are better than others, but generally speaking, you can do a little better at home, and it's really easy, as it turns out. So some years back, I bought this thing because I don't go enough bizarre directions and have enough equipment and shit laying around here. So I had to buy books to inspire me to go get more. And this is Charcuterie, which was by Michael Ruhlman. He's a great food writer from the Cleveland, Ohio area, and Chef Brian Paulsine. This guy is the high priest of pigs, as far as I'm concerned. Brian is the real deal. He teaches classes around the country on how to disassemble and deal with a hog. I'd really like to catch one of those sometime. I know a guy in town that knows how to take hogs apart real good, and maybe I'll. I got enough problems right now. We'll do pig later, but anyway. There's all kinds of things in here, and you can actually make this stuff that's on the front. I've done some of these. It's really not hard. You just need the stuff, and you need to know what you're doing. And in here is the recipe for corned beef. And it's really, really easy. Really easy, folks. You have to make a brine, and I did that yesterday. And the brine is a gallon of water. You don't need any special water. You need 2 cups of kosher salt, but what I recommend you do is weigh it. Not all kosher salt is created equal. Not all salt is created equal. Kosher salt is, I like it, and I always use Morton's because it's readily available. but I know exactly how much I need in that by the feel of my fingers. These are the fingers I play banjo with. These are the fingers I grab salt out of the dish with. And I know about what a teaspoon is, and I salt to taste. I don't measure, and you should never, you got to be careful measuring salt, because there's another brand called Diamond Crystal where the crystals are a little different. So if you take a teaspoon measure, a teaspoon of one is not the same amount of the teaspoon of salt in the other, if that makes sense. And table salt and kosher salt don't talk to each other anyway. So if you add a teaspoon of that stuff in the little can with the chick with the umbrella on it, a teaspoon of that is much different than a teaspoon of kosher salt. How do you get around that? Easy. You weigh the stuff. And I have a little electronic scale. You can put a little bowl on it. You can tare it with T-A-R-E, which means you can set the thing back to zero regardless of the weight that's on it. And you put 450 grams of salt in there. And that is 450 grams of salt no matter what the hell size the salt is. 450 grams of salt, that's about 2 cups. It's a lot. Go buy a box at the store. It's cheap. It's salt. You've got a half cup sugar, 100 grams. Then after that, it gets a little tricky. 3 cloves of minced garlic and a couple of tablespoons. That's a really big couple pinches of pickling spices. And pickling spices are available at the grocery store. They're also available online. Penzie's, the crazy guy from Milwaukee, I really like the Penzie's pickling spice, but I bought some from Pendrees in Fort Worth, and I'm looking forward to try that. But you also need one key ingredient, folks. One key ingredient that is essential. And if you don't use this, I'm going to look at you funny. And what that is this stuff. This is pink salt, saltpeter, Prague powder number 1, cure number 1, whatever you want to call it. This is sodium nitrite. I don't give a shit who thinks you can't have nitrites in cured food. If you want pink bacon and not gray bacon, if you want pink corned beef or pastrami and not dingy gray looking crap, you need this. This is not a seasoning. This is chemical class. You use a little bit about this, 25 grams. You do not use this to season food. That's why it's pink, so you don't eat the crap, because it is not good for you in raw form, but a little goes a long way in your cured foods. I use this to make bacon. I use this in some of my sausage, and I definitely use it in corned beef. This is what gives you that distinct pink color, and this preserves it. All this stuff does is to fight the good fight on bacteria in your meats and lets them cure the way they need to cure. So I whipped that up yesterday. You're gonna need it on the stove. You're gonna need to just melt that salt, sugar, and sodium nitrite, and so you got a nice brine. It's curing, it's outside, it got cold last night. It's not frozen because there's a ton of salt in it. So I'm gonna put my brisket in that. I'm going to use my Slick Volrath half hotel pan, steam pan. I bought this from the good folks at Maxwell's. This is my turkey cooker, my beef curer, and boy, can you make a big ass lasagna in this sucker. I've done that before. Weighs about 15 pounds, and that's the mark of a good lasagna. But I'm gonna put my brisket in that, and I've got a really nice brisket that meat in freezer meets opportunity for cleaning out freezer. And this is my brisket right here. Look at that baby. Isn't that sweet? That's about 5.5 pounds, I'm gonna say. Look at the marbling on that. This came off of one of the slickest critters there is. I'm gonna open that up. I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna dump my brine in it. And then I'm gonna cover this up carefully. I'm probably gonna have to put a plate over this sucker so that it stays under. So these things tend to float a little. You want them under, stay in the cure. And I'm gonna put a sheet of plastic wrap over the top of that with my brine in it, and a little tin foil. It'll kind of create a corned beef battery, but it's going out in the garage fridge because that's about the only place I have room for it, and it's just gonna have to do out there, and it'll be fine. I'm gonna let that sit for about a week while I mess around all week, and next Saturday, that goes in the crock pot. And the way to get this done in the crock pot, folks, is super easy. So even if you don't make your own corned beef, if you just go buy one of those at the store, especially if you find them cheap, I mean, they're really okay, but you can do better. I take that and I put it in the crock pot. Just put it in the crock pot so you can screw around and do whatever you want all day, all day. But you put that in the crock pot. I cut up an onion, just chunk up an onion, put that in there, a little celery and a little carrot, maybe some garlic. I like those aromatics. You're going to put your corned beef in there. You want to get all the brine off it. You want to give it a rinsey rinse, put it in the crock pot, put those things in it, and then open a Guinness. Go get yourself some Guinness. You're going to need Guinness for St. Patrick's Day, and you're going to want to pour a bottle of Guinness in there, minus maybe one good slug out of the bottle to make sure you're using good beer. And put that in, put the lid on it, go do whatever you want. I like another pinch or two of fresh pickling spices in there because that really gives you that good flavor. So then go screw around, do whatever you want for, I don't know, 6-7 hours or so. You're gonna put this on low. And then later you can put in a few little potatoes. If you want more carrots, you can put those in. I get a small cabbage because cabbage seems to actually get bigger in the fridge when I buy it until it gets moldy. It's kind of like sauerkraut on the cob. And then that's not really good. That doesn't work. So then I end up tossing it. But you can cut that into wedges and put that in. So then you got some potatoes, you've got some cabbage, you've got maybe if you want some more carrots in there, put some in. Those with those little, I don't know, those ones they make in wood shop or whatever, the ones that are all the same size and round. You can put those in there, and then you've got some carrots and stuff too. I like to just take that out. It's just falling apart tender. Cut it into slices, throw it on a plate, throw some of those vegetables around it, a little bit of that juice, get out the horseradish. I don't know what it is with horseradish, but man, that's one of my favorite things. And I like a little horseradish with it because that sweet and that savory with that beef meets that spicy, that kind of, little pleasure pain stuff in your nose. Man, that's good. So that's what you need to do. We'll try and do some more videos. I got to go to the store and I got to figure out what the hell I'm doing today and probably what I'm going to do when I grow up, if I ever grow up. We got Coyote basketball today. We got big battle in the Summit League. We got the Coyotes and the Yak Rabbits going at it this afternoon. Men got knocked out last night. I think the state men, they're knocked out too. So the South Dakota teams are out of the Summit League. That's fine. You can't win every damn year. I know some of you think you can and you can't, and that's called humility, and that makes you human. So be more human. And I'm going to watch basketball, and I got to figure out something for dinner tonight because I've actually depleted the freezer to the point that I don't know what the hell we're going to eat for a while. Going to be a lot of beef soon. So anyway, everybody have a good day. Rock on. Play a train song. Make yourself corned beef. Have a good one, everybody.